So let's jump straight into it. So you mentioned that along the way in your career, alongside that, you built up a portfolio, you had buy-to-lets, HMOs, and then in St Ives, you had some furnished holiday lets. Was that pre kind of getting more educated, so to speak? I know you kind of talk about this kind of moment where you found out kind of a lot more. So you had done an awful lot, you know, beforehand anyway.
Yes, I mean, I'd read books and gone onto council websites and had a look at what was on there, and I'd done as much as I could do, really, and you know, lined myself with a good accountant who gave me some advice, but they weren't property experts. The accountant I had, he was just a good bookkeeper, essentially. And I just knew in my heart of hearts, you can't be working this hard and not be mega rich. Luckily, I was on a 6-figure salary, similar type of bonuses, obscene amounts of money and bonuses. And that to some extent was holding up my property empire, and that shouldn't be the case. Property is about giving you that financial freedom, and that wasn't happening for me at all. So I knew instinctively, despite what my bookkeeper stroke accountant was saying, that I was doing everything right, that I couldn't be doing everything right, that there must be other strategies or other ways of structuring your business or structuring your tax affairs such that all that hard work was actually benefiting me and not, as my second wife said to me, Nick, property's always been your dream. It's become my bloody nightmare because you're off swanning around the world and I'm having to deal with tenant inquiries. I never signed up for this. On your bike.
Oh no. So I know that you then you then sort of got I think you jumped in with Touchstone and you sort of learnt about this sort of serviced accommodation, but you mentioned that it kind of coincided with losing your job and getting divorced. So that's, my gosh, I mean, most people would have climbed under a rock and kind of hibernated for 20 years, but knowing you, that was not the case. So you didn't exactly start in a very promising position. So could you sort of tell us a little bit about how you went forward from there?
Well, I walked out that second marriage with $5,000 and my pension, which has proved to be my salvation. It's amazing what you can do with pensions. But yeah, I just had $5,000 and I thought, well, that's not a deposit for a house. What do I do? And I did get some redundancy shortly after the divorce. And that's when I bought this small house in a rundown part of Liverpool that I was just going to do as a buy-to-let, turned into my first serviced accommodation. But then I was looking around for people to manage that property for me because I wanted to be hands-free, because I realised that I do have a busy working life, and I didn't want to make another career for myself. I wanted someone else to do it. And looking around, in those days, so we're going back 5 years now, that there wasn't really that much around. So I thought, well, what are the options here? One of the options was do it yourself, set up your own serviced accommodation business and cleaning business. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about cleaning, as both my wives will tell you. But I thought, well, I don't need to know about that. I just need to know people who do it and employ them. And I took myself off to meet a few owners of laundries. And if you've never spoken to a laundry owner, you are missing a massive trick. They know everything that's going on in the city. They know when all the events are coming on. They know who the movers and shakers are, who the best cleaners are, who the best maintenance men are. They are an invaluable source. And I've made it my mission to get friendly with at least two of the large laundry owners. And that really helped me enormously. And So yeah, I set up that business within 4 months, I think it was. I had 32 properties under my control.
4 months, Nick. How did did you do that? So we've got people that, you know, you and I would have mentored or coached who, you know, are struggling to get one property in that time. Certainly I got one property in 4 months. So that was the difference between our journeys. My goodness. So how on earth did you do that? Let's hear how you managed it.
That N word again that one shouldn't mention. Networking.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to local networking meetings, met predominantly people from the London area who didn't have enough money to invest in London, so decided they were going to invest in Merseyside. And they all wanted the same thing, a reliable management company. And I impressed one of that number. They had 6 properties that they gave me immediately. And then they referred me on to someone else, and it just snowballed. And I felt it was just getting unmanageable, really. I was having difficulty employing enough people in time for the demand that was there. It was huge. Once you get a good reputation, and once you're known in a network and you're known by those laundry companies who kept on passing on referrals to me, because everybody wants the dream, don't they? They want the money coming in, but they don't want the hassle of having to deal with the tenants, with the cleaners that don't turn up, and you know, that huge logistical nightmare.
What do you mean cleaners not turning up? Does it not all just happen like beautifully and easily, Nick?
The cleaners, strangely, that when the holidays come, I think it's the excitement of the kids being off school. They just get ill. I think they just collapse. And miraculously they're well again as soon as the holidays are over. I never did understand what it was. I tried speaking to a few doctor friends of mine, but no, they weren't able to fill in the detail on that. But yeah, it's a problem, a big problem. And yes, I did that business for over a year. And to be honest, it was, I wanted 2 things out of it. One, I wanted to earn enough money to build some deposits to buy more serviced accommodation, tick in the box, achieve that. But also, I always knew I wanted to be a property mentor, and I, you know, I couldn't just go on a course where they say, "Oh yeah, you can start a business with next to money at all," and not have done it myself. I needed to prove to myself that I could start with next to nothing, and have that money coming in. And it was hard work, really hard work. As I say, it's unless you know beforehand what the demand is, suddenly there's a tsunami of demand coming in. You don't want to turn anything away. But I was spending half my time interviewing new clients and half my time interviewing new employees. So, you know, quite a network of people that I depended on for the business, and just coordinating all of that. I mean, some of the stories I could tell you would absolutely turn your toes up. I remember my first day in managing a large property, and the cleaners didn't turn up. This is my first day. I'd been presenting in the boardroom of that bank only a couple of days before, and now I had a brush in my hand and I was cleaning the toilets because there was no one else left to do it, and the guests were just about to arrive. And I just thought, how the mighty have fallen.
How grounding it is, I think, is the way I look at it. Have you ever thought your head was in the clouds?
Absolutely, it's good for you to have that. I'm not used to be able to, I want this doing, and it would just happen, or I need to get to the airport, suddenly there's a car there to take you. And that was my life. And then I'm cleaning toilets. And yes, it grounded me.